move from defense to attack and join us in the final third. This and every Sunday until the end of the JPL season.
We are back for season 2 of Corner Office. We are highlighting small businesses, hard-working Jamaicans who are doing their own thing in their own spaces. People who are in their role, bossing up their role.
Let's go!
Let's get it! It's not if you own the company or not, it's how you own the role. Ice cream is coming. Guess what? It is your Corner Office. Season 2, bigger and better. And guess what? You don't think it's not yet? Check it out. We're there in the place. Undercover. Easy yourself.
Rise with Sunrise. Miss Kitty and Dennis are back in business. Your Monday begins with a budget breakdown with Carlton. Then we head to the kitchen for breakfast is served. It's off to the field for your JPL preview, and we'll wrap things up with a Women's Month highlight. You've never seen a sunrise like this.
You can open a Sagicor Bank savings account from anywhere. Go online and open yours today.
The time by Sagicor Bank is
7 o'clock. Tonight in CVM News at 7, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio expected in Jamaica. Drink it. Jesse James Clark challenges the NWC to drink alleged contaminated water. International star shines among professionals at high school career day. Nearly 500 Jamaican teachers struggling after migrating to England. And in sports, Reggae Boys salvage last gasp draw against St. Vincent and the Grenadines in CONCACAF Gold Cup qualifiers.
Hello from Kingston, Jamaica. This is CVM News at 7 for Saturday, March 22, 2025. I am Curlin Brown. Thanks so much for joining us. The Caribbean community is taking a major step toward regional integration. By June this year, all participating CARICOM member states are expected to fully implement the free movement of people, a key pillar of the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, or CSME. Now, the announcement came during high-level consultations with the private sector in Tobago this week, where stakeholders were urged to prepare for the changes and seize the opportunities that come with a more connected Caribbean. Ramon Gordon reports.
CARICOM is moving full steam ahead toward implementing full free movement of people across the region by June 1, with private sector stakeholders meeting in Tobago for consultations on how best to position businesses for the change. Jamaicans, among other Caribbean nationals, will soon be able to live, work and move across participating states without a work permit as part of the long-anticipated expansion of the CARICOM Single Market and Economy CSME.
The free movement of persons will be a paradigm shift in the way our nationals access employment, expand business partnerships, and create entrepreneurial opportunities. The EU reported a 20% increase in productivity attributed directly to the free movement of workers, while the OECS, the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, has experienced enhanced regional economic and functional cooperation, which has encouraged economic resilience.
She says the Twin Island Republic has already legislated all 12 categories of skilled workers, including teachers and nurses. Jamaican nationals, historically among the most mobile in the region, are expected to benefit significantly from the reform. Wayne McCook, Assistant Secretary General of CARICOM, called on regional businesses to seize the opportunity of an extended market.
The single market gives a Tobagonian business an extended opportunity to sell and produce for markets of millions across the region under preferred conditions. We have to make it the free movements within the single market truly free.
Ambassador Jennifer Merchant, Trinidad and Tobago's envoy to CARICOM, echoed the call for urgency.
The world has always been a harsh place for the small and vulnerable, and it is even more so now in the current turbulent geopolitical environment. We need, as a matter of urgency, the fullest possible flowering of the CSME, which will develop and sustain the inner economic dynamism that we need.
The forum highlighted ongoing work in areas such as transport connectivity, agricultural trade, mutual recognition of qualifications, and professional licensing. There were also renewed calls for harmonized tax and customs policies and the possibility of eventually adopting a single regional currency, a topic that remains under review. Ramon Gordon for CVM News.
Meanwhile, there's growing diplomatic tension in the region as the United States steps up pressure on Caribbean nationals over long-standing medical partnerships with Cuba. In the midst of the controversy, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is expected to touch down in Jamaica in the coming days. We go back to Ramon Gordon for more.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is expected in Jamaica soon, part of a regional tour that's already raising eyebrows. His visit comes just weeks after he threatened to revoke visas for government officials in CARICOM states that continue to participate in Cuba's overseas medical program, a decades-old partnership that provides Cuban healthcare workers to several countries, including Jamaica.
If we cannot reach a sensible agreement on this matter, then if the cost of it is the loss of my visa to the U.S., then so be it.
The hemodialysis which we do in St. Vincent at the Modern Medical and Diagnostic Center with these 60 persons, without the Cubans there, I will not be able to offer that service.
I just came back from California, and if I never there again in my life, I will ensure that the sovereignty of Trinidad and Tobago is known to its people and respected by all.
The Trump administration has faced fierce pushback from Caribbean leaders, who've ostensibly thrown their support behind the sanction-laden Caribbean nation. While the exact details of Rubio's itinerary remain under wraps, he's expected to meet with Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness, National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang, and Foreign Affairs Minister Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith. Just days ago, Minister Johnson-Smith defended the program.
Given that the MOU had expired last year, the government of Jamaica had already begun a review process, even before any international concerns were raised. So while we have identified a few areas for alignment with our own overseas labor programs and how they are administered, we are confident that the Cuban program is a legitimate bilateral cooperation program, not an example of trafficking.
Jamaica has partnered with Cuba in healthcare since 1976. Successive administrations have relied on Cuban professionals to support local hospitals and clinics. But the U.S. says the program exploits Cuban workers for profit, and Rubio, a Cuban-American himself, has vowed action.
Anybody expect that I to go because I want to keep a visa, that I would let 60 persons from the poor and working people to die?
Rubio is expected to visit Guyana and Suriname after his stop in Jamaica. Ramon Gordon for CVM News.
To this follow-up now, the opposition junior spokesman on health and wellness, Jesse James, is defending his position regarding allegations of elevated levels of sewage contaminants in water supplied to households in Kingston and St. Andrew. Both the Health Ministry and the National Water Commission, the NWC, shut down his claims on Friday. Well, Clark says he's shocked by their response. Nika Lewis has our update.
Shocked. Chairman of the KSAMC's Health and Sanitation Committee, the PNP's Jesse James Clark, says the recent rebuttal to his claims that some residents in Kingston and St. Andrew could be drinking contaminated water by the National Water Commission was a surprise.
Well, I'm surprised that the NWC were bold enough to come out and say that, because the results that I spoke about, they are the NWC's results. They're not my results. I didn't make them up. They're from the National Water Commission. So it's their own results that is showing that they're having issues with their rural water treatment plants. And we visited a couple of them, but there are others that they are also having issues with based on the poor quality water that is being produced in these areas. Now, this is a problem because water from these areas can end up anywhere. There are persons who sometimes collect water in these areas and then sell them in other areas. And the persons who live near to these distribution plants, they're also consuming this water.
He's challenging the authorities to make public the results for the last 3 months and prove him wrong.
Since it's not their results and I'm making things up, I'm challenging them to release their results for Zone 1 and Zone 2 over the last 3 months. And I'm also challenging the persons from the Ministry of Health and NWC to also drink some of the water publicly that is coming from some of these rural water treatment sites.
However, he maintains the proper thing to have done would be to inform the public of any challenges the sites are faced with and advising customers to take special measures when using the commodity.
And it's unfair for persons, the citizens of Kingston and St. Andrew, to be consuming water that is below quality without any type of warning from NWC. I believe the responsible thing for the NWC to have done would have been to come out and to say, yes, we're having some issues, but we're working to fix the problem, and give an advisory for persons to boil their water or to filter the water too as well, to reduce the risk of persons getting infected with different germs that might be present in the water. That would be the responsible thing to do. And we still have not heard anything from the minister coming out to say anything, both the Minister of Health and also the Minister of Responsibility for Water.
Nika Lewis, CVM News.
And another story we're tracking, teacher migration in Jamaica. It remains a major challenge in the education sector. But is migration the rewarding experience it sells itself to be? Well, a recent JTA Go Public Funding initiative online saw stakeholders from England, Canada and North America sharing the experiences of Jamaican teachers in their countries now facing hardships in the system due to austerity measures and other challenges. The UK's National Education Union, the NEU, stakeholders shared the terrors endured by many Jamaicans there.
Just to give you a quick picture of the problems that these teachers were facing when they were coming employed by Harris. Firstly, just the significant costs of relocation coming to London and the lack of support for that. A lack of recognition of their years of service when it came to remuneration and their placement onto the teacher pay scales in the UK, sometimes to a detriment of up to £10,000 being paid up to £10,000 less than teachers with equivalent experience in England. No consistent or supportive induction process to help them transition into the UK teaching environment, and a lack of support to help them achieve qualified teacher status.
3 members of a suspected robbery syndicate in St. James have been killed by the police after a series of attacks this week. Head of the St. James Police Senior Superintendent Aaron Samuels says intelligence and investigations have led them to believe several people are connected to this group of criminals, and the police are urging them to surrender.
3 criminal suspects have died this week in St. James in relation to a string of attempted robberies, and 2 policemen left injured. The incidents have left many in fear as the tourist hub echoed with gunshots during the police and robber confrontations.
On Tuesday, March 18, there was a vicious attack on the members of the public and the police officers working within the St. James area. There was a robbery in progress when police officers from the Beat Officer Patrol responded. During this incident, 2 members of the team were shot and injured. We believe that there's a syndicate of robbers, criminals who are trying their best to disrupt the peace and unity that we have created here in St. James. They have been plaguing the business community for quite some time, Because of that, we are seeing where persons have gotten injured based on the actions of these criminals.
The commanding officer says their intelligence and efforts have led them to believe multiple players are involved, including the 3 men who have since confronted them and died.
We have tracked so far 3 members who chose not to surrender to the police and attacked the members of the security forces and were shot and killed. There's also 1 member who was picked up and is also in custody. We believe that there's 1 member that is still out there who is nursing his wounds and is receiving assistance from members of the public rather than going to an official medical institution.
Meanwhile, Deputy Superintendent Lynroy Edwards, the division's operations head, notes there's a continued push to restore peace and order to the parish, adding no criminal will be exempted. The police are urging the major players to surrender or face the long arms of justice.
And we are particularly interested in the major players, the movers and shakers, the financiers, the shutters. We'll take anyone. We ask that they surrender because there's no guarantee they challenge us, they will survive. I want to reassure the public that St. James is at a safer and better place, and this mission will not stop.
Nika Lewis, CVM News.
CVM News at 7 will continue right after this.
With Sunrise, Miss Kitty and Dennis are back in business. Your Monday begins with a budget breakdown with Carlton. Then we head to the kitchen for breakfast is served. It's off to the field for your JPL preview, and we'll wrap things up with a Women's Month highlight. You've never seen a sunrise like this.
People, we now waste no time.
I am super excited to be on for another season to show you the Holy Road.
Listen, new adventures. Slim get Fluffy. That's cool, let's go. We're not going out, you know. Things are only getting hotter and hotter this season.
Click, pow, that must tell you something.
There's a great story happening just in our backyard. We are on the Holy Road again.
In a world where innovation meets tradition, agriculture is evolving like never before. From the latest sustainable farming technologies to age-old practices passed down through generation, agriculture is
precious to me.
I love the animals. I don't mind getting my hands dirty. I love working.
Join us right here on CVM TV every Sunday during news at 7 as we explore the people, the science, and the breakthroughs that are shaping the way we grow, eat, and live. You don't want to miss it. This is Farming Forward.
And we welcome you back with a look now at regional and international news.
We begin with news in the region. In Guyana, day 6 of the high-profile election fraud trial featured tense courtroom exchanges as key prosecution witness Rosalinda Rasul returned for further cross-examination by prominent attorney-at-law Nigel Hughes. Here's HGP TV.
As an independent observer for the American Chamber of Commerce, Guyana, AmCham, and the circumstances surrounding her statement in legal proceedings linked to the 2020 elections. On the cross-examination, Rasul admitted that it was not appropriate for an observer mission to go to the office of a candidate to give his statement.
So that's effectively saying that AmCham ought not to have sent her to Mr. Nandalal, who was a candidate, to give a statement. It turned out, she said she didn't know at the time that this statement was being given on behalf of Bar Jagdeo.
Rasul was then grilled extensively on security features on the statement of polls.
Barbados must become the most prosperous and advanced nation in the world. This is a goal that the government of Barbados has in mind, according to Minister of Educational Transformation, Senator Chad Blackman. He was speaking at the annual general meeting of the National Union of Public Workers. More from CBC.
The future of work and work as we know it today will not look the same. And I'm not talking 50, 60, 70 years anymore. 10 years from now, from today, the skills required for our workers in the public service and private sector, countries at large, will require a different skill set, a high level of innovation and nimbleness. So the question is now, how can the NUPW, using its experience from the last 80 years, because you have it, you have a blueprint. You have a blueprint of success. You have a blueprint of negotiation, collective bargaining, being parts of different movements, etc. But how do you now take that and shape it into a modern reality, helping your members now to prepare themselves for new skills?
In international news, Israel has carried out the most intense airstrikes on Lebanon in nearly 4 months, after several rockets were fired from Lebanon into Israel for the first time since a ceasefire came into effect in November. Details from the BBC.
You had a number of rockets, several rockets being fired from Lebanon into Israel. The Israeli military said 3 rockets were intercepted in the town of Metula, the first time that we had this kind of attack since this ceasefire was implemented. No casualties were reported in Israel, but in response to this attack, the Israeli military launched the most intense wave of airstrikes in Lebanon. The military said it had targeted dozens of rocket launchers and a command center being used by Hezbollah here in Lebanon, which is obviously this powerful armed group and political movement here in the country. We had an update from the Lebanese authorities saying that at least 2 people were killed, including a child, as a result of those attacks. Now, no group has claimed responsibility for the attack from Lebanon earlier today. Hezbollah, which is the main armed group operating here in Lebanon, based in Lebanon, has denied having any kind of involvement in the attack. But what is interesting here is that this happens just days after Israel renewed its military operation in Gaza.
That's it for regional and international news. I'm Nika Lewis.
And we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Season 2 of Corner Office. We are highlighting small businesses, hard-working Jamaicans who are doing their own thing in their own spaces. People who are in their role, bossing up their role.
Let's go!
Let's get it! It's not if you own the company or not, it's how you own the role. Ice cream is coming! Guess what? It is your Corner Office. Season 2, bigger and better. And guess what? You don't think it's not yet? Check it out. We're the end of the place. Undercover. Easy yourself.
Waterhouse have slipped out of the top 6, but a win last time out against Vere has them dreaming of a playoff spot again. They face the once mighty Harbourview in Monday match night on CVM TV. Kickoff is at 7:45 p.m. Jouesden Mini Stadium plays host to this battle of former Premier League powerhouses, Waterhouse and Harbourview, Monday, March 24 at 7:45 p.m.
Monday match night, powered by Sunshine Snacks and ABC Electrical.
Every dream conquered is another dream game. I land and I fly again like a jet plane. Headed straight in your direction, 'cause I'm wiser, one step closer. I'm winning 'cause I work so hard. And the music you stop playing, and the people them I say we are my show tonight.
Welcome back to CVM News at 7. Since February, a mother and her little girl have been in Miami because of a medical emergency which developed in December 2024. Now, while they are away, Daddy is getting much support, and that's part of what Inspire Jamaica is all about.
Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place if you can. In my daughter's eyes, I am a hero. I am strong and wise, and I know no fear.
All three sisters are Daddy's little girls, and they know it. But Zanae Ruth Robinson, the youngest, who turned 8 on March 9, is off the island away from her siblings and Daddy since February 4. A visit to the doctor turned into something big.
It wasn't even a complaint. She just not using the right arm readily. I found it out and started allowing her to exercise the hand. When you do it extensive, she would cry for pain. So what we did now is January, took her to the doctor, and they suggested we do an MRI. We did MRI, we did other radiologies, and the conclusion was that there's a mass on the shoulder blade.
They were eventually referred to the Children's Hospital by a bone specialist.
End result, the doctor said we will have to do a biopsy. That biopsy would mean that she would have to get a cut. But they can't do the treatment. So we said no. They didn't give us any other option. They just told us that's it.
Did they say what it is should be? Well, there's a biopsy, but what they will be treated for?
They want to do the biopsy to pinpoint what is the real thing, what kind of cancer it is. So we decided that would send her overseas.
The decision to go overseas became even more pressing, according to Mom, after they were told it would take some 8 weeks before the results of the biopsy would be known.
What school does she attend?
Oh, she attends Mona Prep.
How would you describe her before she started complaining for all the pain?
Even after the pain, is the same vibrant little girl. Nothing don't stop her, and anybody just being around her for a bit, it's like they just soak up her
energy.
Yes.
They were happy when Zanae was accepted by a hospital in Miami.
She has been on treatment since. But initially, what they did was all the tests that we did here, they did them over.
And the result has proven that what? What's the conclusion?
The conclusion is she has leukemia. And it can be treated. Time span cannot be given because it depends on the treatment and not the response of the individual. So we are in that era right now. But everything looks up on the up.
The diagnosis, pre-B acute lymphoblastic leukemia, a condition that experts say only affects children, young children that is. So far, the entire Mona Prep School family has been stepping up support for little Zanae, like a walkathon and fun day where we caught up with Dad.
You also made sure you put something in the pot. Tell me about this porridge.
Nothing planned. It was yesterday they said they wanted to do a porridge. And they looked around the crew and nobody said anything about it. So I said I would just volunteer. And they said, all right, go for it. One plantain porridge. And I just decided to put some green banana with it. And do a blend. And that. Yeah, man, thanks.
Interestingly, on this day, most of her schoolmates only had things Zanae is allowed to eat.
So she can have
she can have all type of fruits. Well, there's one called dragon fruit, and she allowed me to know that there's such a thing. They have it a lot there in Miami, and she's just gobbling it every morning. That's on her plate. Yeah, so everything that named fruits is given to her. Nobody don't offer no meat, and she's not really feeling downhearted because you just stop eating meat as a child. Your body might just say, no, what is this? But she just adapt. It works.
And everybody's pulling together.
Yes, the bigger daughter is pulling together so much so she's planning a cake sale.
Let's continue to inspire Jamaica.
Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place if you can.
And we'll continue with sports right after this.
Rise with Sunrise, Miss Kitty and Dennis are back in business. Your Monday begins with a budget breakdown with Carlton. Then we head to the kitchen for breakfast is served.